The rain fell with a rhythm that was almost melodious, tapping against the rusting tin roof of a little car repair shop that was located on the hands that were stained with oil moved with quiet precision beneath the hood of a dilapidated old pickup truck. The mechanic was located on the edge of town. Jamal, a humble man in his early 30s, wiped sweat from his brow with the back of his sleeve, unaware that his life was about to change forever. Jamal had lived a life of quiet struggle. He wasn't wealthy, nor was he well known. His small garage, passed down by his late father, barely brought in enough to cover bills and groceries. But he was rich in something many overlooked. Kindness. He'd fix cars for free when someone couldn't pay off for food to the homeless from his modest lunchbox, and always greeted the world with a warm smile, even when it didn't smile back. On this particular day, as the storm continued to rage, when Jamal turned his head to look at the bus stop across the street, he saw her drenched, shaking, and carrying a little suitcase. She was still wearing her bridal gown, which was now splattered with dirt and clung to her like a memory. She wanted to get rid of her mascara, which had flowed down her cheeks like a path of broken hopes. Jamal laid down his tools and stepped into the rain. He did not inquire as to why he was offering her shelter inside the garage. Instead, he simply handed her a towel and provided her the only seat he had, which was a cushion stool next to a workbench that was stained with coffee. Her name was Sarah. Her voice cracked as she spoke, but she eventually revealed the truth. She had been left at the altar. Her fiancé had called off the wedding an hour before the ceremony, claiming he couldn't spend his life with someone who had too many scars from a difficult past emotional wound. She had shared with him in confidence. Her parents, humiliated by the canceled wedding, had blamed her. "You're too damaged to love," her mother had said coldly before storming off, with nowhere to go and no one to turn to. Sarah had wandered until she found herself at the bus stop. Jamal listened, quietly, never interrupting. When she finished, he simply nodded and said, "You're safe here." The storm that was occurring outside was a reflection of the turmoil that was occurring inside Sarah's heart. However, for the first time that day, she experienced warmth, not from a fireplace or a heated room, but rather from a soul that did not anticipate receiving anything in return. That evening, Jamal prepared a simple meal consisting of lentils and rice for her, and given her a small bed. Over the next few days, she chose to sleep on the floor of the garage. Despite the fact that she was helping out around the garage, sweeping the floors, arranging the equipment, and laughing for the first time in what seemed like years, Jamal never once looked at her with pity. He saw strength where others saw weakness, and he saw resilience where others saw destruction. After a few weeks had passed, Sarah started to re-establish her spirit in that garage. Jamal encouraged her to apply for a job at a nearby bookstore, and she was successful in getting the job. With her first paycheck, she purchased curtains for the small window in the garage, as well as a used couch for Jamal to sleep on. Gradually, their lives began to intertwine, not because of necessity, but rather because of respect, shared values, and growing affection. One evening, as they sat on the rooftop of the garage, they watched the sun sink below the horizon. Sarah spoke. "Why have you been so kind to me?" she asked. Jamal smiled. "Because someone once told me that kindness doesn't cost a thing, but it can change everything." He told her about his mother, who had once taken in a homeless teenage boy during a harsh winter. That boy had grown up to become a doctor, who later saved her life. "You never know who someone can become if you just believe in them," he said. Sarah's eyes welled with tears, not from sadness, but from the realization that she was finally seen, truly seen. Months turned into a year. Jamal's garage flourished. Word had spread about the kind mechanic and the woman who brought light into his life. They weren't rich in money, but their hearts were full. On a spring morning, exactly 1 year from the day she stood at the bus stop in a rain-soaked gown, Jamal knelt on one knee inside the garage. He held out a simple ring, one he had bought by saving every extra penny for months. "I saw what he never could," Jamal said, voice steady. "I saw the fire in your soul, the strength in your silence, and the beauty in your scars. Will you build a life with me, not perfect but real?" Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks as she nodded yes. She whispered 1,000 times. Yes, they married, not in a grand hall, but right there in the garage, surrounded by neighbors, friends, and even customers who had become family. The same tin roof that once echoed with rain now rang with laughter and love. Their story became one shared in whispers and social media posts, touching hearts around the world. But to Jamal and Sarah, it was never about attention. It was about healing, about choosing hope when life gives you heartbreak. A poor mechanic had taken in a rejected bride, not out of obligation, but out of pure compassion and doing. So he saw what her fiancé never could, the priceless worth of a soul that had known pain, yet chose love anyway. And in that humble garage, two broken hearts found home. Because sometimes the greatest love stories aren't written in castles or penthouses, they're written in oil-stained garages under leaky tin roofs between two people who simply choose to be kind. The world needs more Jamals, more hearts willing to love, without judgment, more eyes that see past the surface, more hands that lift others up without asking what they'll get in return. Because at the end of the day, love isn't about perfection, it's about presence, and that makes all the difference.